Hey, buddy.
Hey!
Very special aid station this week. We have the absolute pleasure of speaking to someone very special, don't we? Who is it, Ali?
Yeah, Dan Jones, just hot off the back of Western States.
Incredible chat. Very generous with his time, as always. Heaps of insights into this incredible race, and some real special news to share. So rip into it with Dan Jones on the aid station. Super stoked to welcome back Dan Jones to Dirt Church Radio. Dan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. I was actually just saying off air how much I'm still catching up on sleep. I was a bit of a sleep in today. Got my 10 and a half hours in for the night. So yeah, absolutely loving the long dark nights here in New Zealand.
Yeah, good time to come back from an American summer race and just have a good excuse to hit the hay, huh?
Yeah, that's true. And also to have some colder temperatures was a big relief when I finally, stepped off the plane into New Zealand, into Auckland. And I was like, did that walk jog between international and domestic airports. I was thinking, oh, thank goodness it's not 40-degree heat right now. I'd be absolutely cooked.
It looked incredible with the. I was saying in another episode we did that I sort of this is the first time I'd really tuned into the live stream, and I've read books, I've Twitter, podcasts, all that stuff, but you don't appreciate just it looked baking hot. I mean, what in terms of times that you've been there before, what was it like this year?
Yeah, it felt baking hot as well. I mean, it seemed to warm up a lot earlier than it did the previous year. I know temperatures were somewhat similar. It was a little bit hotter this year. But yeah, just because I think even before we got to Robinson Flat, the day had started to warm up. So it was just super important to try and keep on top of cooling really early this year. And no matter what you do, it just gets so hot down in the canyons. And then again, once you get out of there and head to the river, there was just some sections where you're just running along and there was no breeze. And it just felt you could feel the warm air around you, just your cheeks were just so hot and you just use everything. Like I'd had ice in my handhelds, the ice bandana, of course. I'm going through every aid station just trying to refill it with ice and trying to keep cool, but you're just trying to put it on your face. And it just felt really extreme this year. And I think when you looked almost at the attrition rate as well, it was super high. And I think that was just down to people also going out really hard, but it was the heat as well. And yeah, it was hard to recover from if you just burned too many matches early.
A year of surprises. Were you surprised about David Roche dropping?
Not really.
Why?
Okay.
Give us a reason.
Because the nice thing is just you come to expect anything happening really in these races. Like Killian could have dropped. I'm very much less so surprised that he carried on and finished strong, because he has raced this race before, and I think it does take some maybe getting used to the course conditions. And no matter what you do in training or say you're going to achieve in the race or put yourself through in training, you also have to have a matter of just maybe just keeping things under wraps and just letting the day play out without putting too much expectation on it. Yeah, I mean, of course, you as an elite athlete, you put yourself in the mix. But I really don't think I really appreciated Seth Ruling's some of his what he came out spoken with before the race. Just people go and call their shot. I'm going to do 14 hours. Who really knows what the race is going to throw at you? It could be a really hot year, and then the 14 hour, even though it was pretty hot this year, and those guys got close. There's no real way of saying what you're going to do before it starts, or even when you're halfway through.
I guess it's a go and show thing, isn't it? Do you think that you guys all had media around you, right? But there's levels, and you think about Killian's, that film's already come out. He's already, I don't know if you've seen it, he's published the film about this was my lead up to the race and everything. Do you think that fuels that fire of people sort of saying stuff on camera and on the internet, or do you think it's just a function of the thing that the race is just getting faster and faster?
I mean, it's still, yeah, it does fuel a fire in me to try and beat some of those people, of course, because you just see a lot of cockiness and just a lot of show poniness, which is cool. Like, it's good for the sport, but it also makes me want to try and beat those people, like, even more. And of course, like, I mean, I want to beat whoever, like, rocks up to the start line, whether it's David, Killian, Caleb, or any of the top people racing. But in the end, it's just like when it comes down to halfway through the race, you're not thinking about those people. You're thinking about yourself and how you're in it and like what you can do to try and make your way up. So it is what it is before the race. Like, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of these, like, different channels and maybe different pressures being thrown at you. Like, people saying, oh, we're seeing all this new, like, developments and training. How do you think it's working for these people? Are you doing that? And I think you've just got to really trust in what you're doing yourself, and you can be doing the latest things, but when it comes down to it, you still got to race well and put yourself in the deep end and make yourself hurt. And we all do it. And it came off for some of those guys. And like, I got 5th in this race, so I'm reasonably happy. You're probably going to ask me that if I'm happy with it. Like, I'm reasonably happy, like, with how I put myself in it. And there were some moments out there where I was absolutely just really just dead. Like, I came up into Michigan Bluff Aid Station, and my parents basically said that it felt like I was just looking right through them. Like, it was a hard part. It always is a hard part, but yeah, I managed to rally somewhat. I didn't finish as hard or as good as I wanted to. I didn't catch up to a podium position, but yeah, I still finished all right.
I mean, talking about finishing all right, like, there's been this massive increase in speed in the sport. Like, looking, your time from this year's Western States would have won it every other year apart from Jim's 2018, 19, 2024, and then Caleb's run this year. So, like, it's a huge performance when you look at it that way, in the history of Western States, to be running times like that lead you to being 5th. So what do you think about this, the increase of speed in the sport?
Yeah, I think I'm at a lucky time to have fairly recently come into the sport, like over the last few years, where I've really dipped my toes into the professional racing scene, or be allowed to become a professional over the last year and a bit. So yeah, I mean, who knows? You just, like, you just give what you get given, and you just race like what is now just very deep trail ultra racing in most races, to be fair. Even, like, the New Zealand scene's great. It's just super competitive. You know that you're going to be up against, like, someone racing hard if you go and race here as well. So yeah, Western States, you know all about it, especially Western States, and I think UTMB, the major, the world champs, whatever you call it, in Chamonix, is just so crazy. Like, yeah, it's just super competitive, and that's just what the sport is these days. And so, going into the race, that it's going to be very, very tough. And I was super surprised, actually, about how hard it went out early, because usually people have a bit more respect to the race, to the distance. And looking at my heart rate data afterwards, I was like, oh yeah, 165, 170 going up the first hill, up the escarpment. And, that's altitude as well, which doesn't fall in my favor. But I should be somewhat used to it, training at it. And yeah, it was amazing that people were just like, chatting away. I was like, all right, I'm just going to save my oxygen here. Like,
I'm just a quiet guy.
yeah, I don't mind. It's also like 5 o'clock in the morning, so I don't want to talk to anyone anyway. But
Hey,
yeah, you get up to... Oh, sorry.
Sorry. There you go.
No, I was just going to say, I just get up to the top, and it's an amazing sight, but it is like, it's crazy how there was just that big front pack, and I was like almost maybe just 30 seconds back, and the pace didn't really slow down at all for the rest of the race. And that's what I've noticed in a couple of the previous years, is people just chat away on that, in that high country section. And this year it was like, I wouldn't know. I was like just off the back, just like trying to bide my time a little bit. And yeah, it was wild.
it pays in your favor, right? Like we saw the same kind of thing happen with Caitlin. Like I think relatively early on, she's like 17th place, and you just go like, when I know there's going to be some attrition when people are pushing the envelope that much. Is that what you're kind of banking on?
I was, but I was also thinking like I would, if I just saved a little myself, then I'd be able to catch up and just be stronger in the back section. Like I probably didn't realize how much some people would stick it, Caleb and Chris especially, because I was actually running with Killian after Robinson Flat a little bit. Maybe not with him, but he was just up ahead of me, and the other two I didn't see all day. So like it is what you almost have to do these days. And maybe if I was just way stronger in the back section, I could have maybe closed the gap, but it's very hard to do that in a 100-mile race. You just feel like crap anyway.
It's incredible to hear you talk about, and because I was doing some reading this morning, because I was thinking about like, this is your third year, right? And this is the third time you've finished within the top 5, right? There's only, so if we think about this, the modern era, say the last 5 years, you're the only person to have done that consecutively. And then you think about like, in the olden times, like Andy Jones-Wilkins, 10 consecutive top 10 finishes, Megan Habergas, 10 consecutive, Tim Twittermeyer had 15 consecutive top 10, and Ann Trayson 14 consecutive top 10 finishes, which that was his first and seconds.
Yeah, right.
But you have to think, like, with the speed of the sport, do you think like 15 consecutive top 10 finishes is even possible anymore?
Oh, I didn't even know that history. So that's crazy. No, like not for me. Dang, I go through like and just be. That's what I mean. That I'm not like I'm happy with how it played out, even though I didn't get the result that I wanted. Is just because just with how hard this race is, you just got to be thankful when you cross that finish line. And to get 5th is it's a pretty deep field. So I've got to be happy with actually just making it through, like surviving it sometimes. And
do you think, like, did you give it your best on the day? What's your unturned stone? Like, is it like looking at Caleb's top? Is it the top? Is it the technology? Like, yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful top. No, I don't
Is
know.
it though? Is it a beautiful top?
I don't know. Nah, it's it'll be interesting. I don't know like what I would be thinking if Terex gave me that top and said, "Hey, you're wearing this for States." I'd be like, "Oh yeah, fashionable."
Maybe that's why he ran so fast, Daddy wanted to get out of it. He's all shamed out.
Well, you got a lot of camera time though, so
He did.
He
He
did.
did get a lot of camera time.
yeah. There's been some pretty good memes afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't know what. So what? Yeah, I look back and it's amazing. Like when you finish the race, you're just thankful to be on that finish line, and you think, "Wow, I was absolutely done." And then, like, I guess as more days pass since the race, you always also think about, okay, what can I do to improve, and what can I do to race faster? Was there anything I could have done? And I'm still in that moment where I'm like, nah, like I was absolutely done. But then, maybe there is, maybe it's better fueling or finding some way to keep cooler or just. I always wonder that, but at the moment, no, I was done. I was absolutely had it. I was laying down in the medical tent, just like waiting for my body to want to do my drug test, like have a piss in a cup, and it took a while, and I was just like getting so sick, and I remember that pretty vividly still.
Wow. I wanted to ask you sort of career. That's the thing, isn't it? It seems like the Western states, and this kind of harkens back to that last thing I was talking about, all those consecutive top 10 finishes. In terms of career, because you're a professional athlete, right? Are you moving to the space where it would be amazing to win Western States? And of course, you're speaking to two people who want nothing more in the world for you to win Western States. That would be incredible. But also, in terms of your career, you reflective of the fact that, like, again, you've had 3 top 5 finishes. Where do you think in the sort of the long run with your career that does that put you in a better spot for that next step, or is it the kind of like that's the ring that you're going for?
Yeah, it still is for sure. Like I definitely think that I've got more. I mean, like to be honest, like look, even though like I think I left it all out there, I didn't feel as strong as what I have in some races this year. Well, obviously, like I think, of course, you're going to feel better when you win as well, and I didn't win, so that's just I think a natural feeling. Like when you cross the finish line and you win, or like you've achieved something like a maybe a position, but like also a race that you've just felt like has gone like way better than anything else. Then you're going to feel better just through that like euphoria of crossing the finish line. You always finish stronger as well, and you look better. You look better when you cross the finish line. But yeah, in this race, like I was one spot worse than last year, and I definitely just didn't feel like things were clicking quite so well as what maybe they could have. So you still just like lay it all down, and what you got is what you got in the day. And so I don't think there's a mental thing, or maybe it was just like a physical thing where I just didn't quite have that top notch on the day. But yeah, it is what it is. I think there's still room for me to improve, and I'll only keep trying to do that.
And certainly, I wasn't suggesting that you rest on your laurels. What I was more talking about in terms of that sort of bankability as you as a pro. Because some people, they go out, there's that sort of that suicide pace, and it's like, yeah, I won this race, and then they kind of, that's it. Or they get that one thing, and then they never reach that height again. But in terms of you've had an undefeated season this year until Western States, and then your 3rd consecutive top 5 finish. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'll probably carry that kind of conversation through to my negotiations at the end of the year of my contract.
Absolutely.
I mean,
No,
speaking of,
yeah, sorry, I was going to say, like, to be fair though, I've got good security of my contract. I've got a few year on my contract, so but they do allow you to like renegotiate if you have like a standout year. And it's a 5th place finish at Western States, and like as you say, I have had some good races earlier on in the season as well. So I think this year's going well for me. It's just like a little bit of a blip where obviously I just didn't get the podium I was looking for at Western States, but I'll still put myself in the mix. And yeah, I still try and hold myself as an athlete that's trying to be the best in the sport.
I'm curious, like talking about your sponsor, T-Rex, what's it like lining up with Caitlin and the whole team? Like they did really well. And I was so stoked to see Abby take the win. Like, how much support do you get? Like, I'm curious kind of from that, we're talking about performance, talking about like, yeah, that sort of thing, social media. Like, how much support do you get having a brand behind you? And like, how much do you have to do with each other?
Oh yeah, it's really for a race like Western States, or actually, so we've got like Western States and UTMB, the championship, as our like 2 main races for the year. And then we've got a whole bunch of like team races as well that we can pick and choose from, where we get flights and things, and we get accommodation. But yeah, even for Western States, like we were all allowed to like meet up for 2 weeks before the race, like in Olympic Valley. Like that's when accommodation started. So I was in there like the Monday, the week before, so like 2 weeks out. And yeah, it was epic. So we just got to hang out, and it's really nice to be stationed in the area, just allowing yourself to just get acclimated to that kind of new climate, because it's at like 1900 meters Olympic Valley. So it's good to like just be stationed there. You can relax, you can get the body used to running a few of those trails. And then yeah, when it comes to your whole team, it was real cool actually. I was the only guy on the T-Rex team that was participating at Western States. There was actually another guy in the top 10, I think, Haruki Kai from Japan. I think he was in
So
the
cool.
Yeah, I think he was in the Agric Speed Ultras as well, and he got 10th, which is bloody awesome. I was so stoked to see that. But anyway, he's not on the team. So we had, the 5 ladies who were, we all just like hung out in Olympic Valley, stayed at the one of like, I was in one of the houses and we had like 3 houses. Some of us were in the same house, but yeah, it was great because we were allowed to like bring our crews in. And although like, we were all separate, we all did like our crew meetings at the house. We all ate together, and it was good because obviously it was Caitlin's first time doing the race, and she could like almost lean on some of the experiences that Abby and myself had. And yeah, it was real special that way. Oh, obviously Emily as well. Emily is like the most experienced in our team. So yeah, she came actually just the Wednesday before the race because she lives fairly close by. But yeah, it was great because then we also like didn't have to travel far for the content pieces that the team put together. I went out to like a horse ranch, but then we did like a team shoot as well, and we did like all our interviews in a separate house where the content team was staying. So I mean, we've just got a lot of sport. There were chefs that cooked in that last week before the race. Chefs that were flying over from Germany. So they're the same ones that kind of support the team, or like cook for the team at Chamonix as well. And so yeah, they all know us now. Like they were the same chefs that came over last year, and we can almost request whatever food we want. It's usually like rice and chicken for the last few days before the race. We're not really leaning into that to as much as what we could have. But yeah, it was really cool. I mean, what more could you ask for? And then afterwards, after the race, we do like our post-race interviews, just talking about probably the same stuff, like talking about how we thought it all went. And then we do this at this barbecue at the Lynn family's house, which is pretty close to Auburn. And yeah, it's really nice because we have like a big barbecue there and a bit of a debrief and just have some beers, margaritas. It was real cool.
I wanted to talk to you about your crew. How good was it having Sam Manson pacing you? I mean, and also, what a coast to coast link, right? That was amazing. Your dad
Yeah,
and
I mean the
Sam.
whole we had the whole top sport kayaking crew out. So I do a bit of guiding over Goat Pass for the top sport kayaking crew, and they came out. Caitlin, Kristen, Sam, and Sam obviously, being a coast to coast champ, I thought he definitely had what it takes to pace me through in that section from Forest Hill to the river, Rocky Chucky. And then, my other good mate and teammate, Cole, he paced me through from there to the finish. So, yeah, those guys did a great job keeping me, keeping the old timing every 20 minutes, making sure I ate and drank. And, yeah, it was great. It was great to have them out there. And it was nice, they could see, a different style of racing as well. And my parents were out. They support crewed me through the whole race, and they just know what's up. They know how to push me, and they do push me and get me in and out of aid stations as fast as possible, which yeah. My mum said she felt quite sad that she had to do that to me, but I was like, I was actually dreading over Pointed Rocks because I knew they were going to be yelling at me to get a move on. But yeah, there's only 10K to go from there, and yeah, it was cool to have them out.
Looking at those aid stations and that super precious, super turnaround and the vibe coming into the aid stations. As Kiwis, we're all just a little bit more low key. How do you deal with that kind of very North American vibe?
Oh, it was good. Like we had Mael out who paced me the previous year, and he gave Sam some good advice, or Sam and Cole some good advice, and he just said you have to be real direct coming into the aid stations. You have to be like, this guy needs ice, he needs his flask filled, and we go, and then you say thank you after as you're running out. So when I came into Forest Hill, that is the biggest aid station on the course probably, where there's just lines of people, lines of crews set up, spectators set up in tents, with maybe different sponsors along the way. And I'm barely taking this in. So I go in there, I get everything swapped out, my ice bandana filled up, my flask and everything. I get ice thrown all over me. And then I leave, and Sam's there. He's just running out, and it was quite funny. He's yeah, running along out of Forest Hill, and he's like, "Yeah, left up here, mate." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And then he starts like giving me some directions. I'm like, "Yeah, I know the course. we got this. We just got to run hard. We're good." And he he did a great job. I mean, some of those aid stations in between, like the uncrewed ones, it's a lot calmer. There's less people around. It's like he had that job to do. Once you go through, we just get the ice, we get filled up with water, and we go. And like I've got nutrition on me to like last me to the next crude aid station. So it's a basic job, but it is like such an important one where, yeah, if you've got a pacer, you may as well be utilizing that with, yeah, him or her telling you basically you need to be eating like every 20 minutes. So he's got that on the watch, and then he's also got to look after himself. There's a picture at the end where he looks like quite warm himself, and like coming straight from New Zealand, it's a pretty hectic job to pace in 35 plus degree temperatures.
He's an animal, that man. He really is.
Yeah, he'll push himself. Exactly. That's what I knew about him. Like, I'm not going to be able to drop this guy.
So you didn't I saw, I think on one of your Instagram posts that Michelle wasn't there this year. Is that right?
That's right.
You guys are obviously super tight, and she normally crews you, right? How hard is it having, like now with this professional side to the sport, like having all the travel, and when you don't have your super crew there with you?
Yeah, it's one of those things like she has been there for the last couple of years, and I think having her there, even like staying with us in Olympic Valley, like it really like calms me down a bit. Like, she's someone I can talk to a little bit if I'm feeling nervous or need to chat things over. Even with like the crewing responsibilities, like she'll just fill up all my bottles while I've got my feet up a couple of days before the race. But yeah, she came out to UTA, which was, we got to share that time together. She did a great job of crewing there, but he's there just flicking on some bottles. Still a very important job. But yeah, she then went back to New Zealand, and I carried on to the US. But yeah, the reason, I mean, she could have come over, but yeah, we're expecting a baby end of September. So
That's exciting. Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. So yeah, it was just going to be a bit of an issue with travel insurance and stuff like that this year. So she went back, and she's still, she's got work here as well. So it's one of those things like it was definitely missed her not being there. But yeah, having at least my parents come out and Top Sport coming out, and then I had the Precision crew as well, Precision Fuel and Hydration. They crewed me as well, and then the Adidas Terex crew. So I had a lot of people around me, and a lot of good and nice like supportive messages coming from like back home and actually all over the world, which was real nice beforehand, saying like, good luck and just give me their best well wishes, because yeah, sometimes you need well wishes, sometimes you need luck in this race. But in the end, yeah, it was good to catch up with her like now, and good to come home like pretty much straight after the race. I could see Michelle and just I've still got to do the lawns, to be fair. It's the first night. She left me for me like that. Fair enough, she's pregnant, so
yeah. She's like, okay, so you can come fifth at Western States, but you can't mow the lawns. Well done.
Exactly. Just give me a few days at least until I can get off.
Hey, how is the recovery going? I saw you went I saw on your Insta you're out with Cam, Sir Lord Cam. You were having a hike and enjoying a delicious cold beverage. How's it going? How's the body treating you?
Yeah, I'm just trying to like not put too much pressure on to jump back into things. The crazy thing is like you do Western States, I guess, you come to grips with that, and then you start to think ahead. And then I'm already thinking about what's next, and that's CCC coming up, and it's not even that far away. So you're trying to, at least just keep the body moving. So we went out for a hike. I got the poles out, and got the poles out, did a few hills, and yeah, I don't know, like definitely still feeling a bit sore. I'm seeing the physio on Wednesday just to iron out a few kinks, and then yeah, I I've been on the bike for the last 4 or 5 days, just the indoor train. I watched the F1 replay this morning and did about an hour and a half, so that was cool. Bugger about Lawson crashing out in like the first lap. That was a bit of a sad start to my cycle.
Look, Ellie, you want to take this? I can't comment.
Yeah, it's Liam Lawson. I mean, we all want the best for him, right? It's
Yeah.
probably, yeah, similar to how we feel about you and Caitlin and Ruth tackling things on the world stage. I'm curious, right? So you, what's your due date in September then? So you're going to have quite a tight turnaround from CCC. Are you like straight back on a plane
I am, yeah.
afterwards? Yeah.
I'm like, so CCC at least it races like a day earlier than UTMB. So we start on the Friday morning. So then I'll race, and then I think I'll be flying out. Yeah, I'm flying out. I haven't booked my flights yet, or haven't booked. That's on the Sunday. So I'm just really hoping that the baby doesn't come like 3 weeks early, because the baby's due date is the 25th.
I'll cross
September.
fingers for you.
September.
You should be good.
You should be good.
Should be good. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Yeah,
Yeah.
Michelle's on board with it. Like, just really hoping the best there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? Parenting adds a layer of complexity and challenge, and actually, you know, meaning and love and purpose to your life that you will never, you know, you can't explain it until you're in it. But I guess the difference for you as well is this is your job. You know, running is your full-time gig, and that's how you know, that's it. You got to put food on the table, right? Like, does it? Yeah, I can't imagine actually. I guess it's a relative stress because we all have jobs, but yeah, is it changing your plans for the rest of the year?
A little bit, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, I don't think. Like last year, I pushed pretty hard and like racing as much as I could, especially being my first year with Terex. And then, as I said, like there's not too much pressure on from my side, especially because I've raced a whole bunch already this year. Like I don't have to go and do CC. There's no pressure to go and do it. But you know, it is the biggest race, one of the biggest races in the world, and I just feel like putting yourself in the mix is going to be good. Like especially if I can recover well and actually just race super well, then if I have a good result there, it's also just going to, you know, help things for us as well. Not just the contract, but you know, it'll be a great feeling to land one at CCC. And Michelle like totally gets it. Like she's so supportive, but it is one of those things that if I can have a few months downtime a little bit in the back end of the year, then that's cool. And if I can shoot over to Australia, maybe race 50k at like Grampians, or do something like that, or race a Kepler challenge, or shoot off to Thailand. I haven't quite like just nailed the back end of my year yet. We just really got to see how everything goes on depending on what we can do. So yeah, but it's exciting because like we kind of see, and like don't get me wrong, for like a guy it's going to be like way easier than a girl. Like, you know, I just feel like well, a guy as a professional runner is going to like take so much less time to not recover, what's that word, but like between the birth and racing, I'm going to be there to be supportive, but then I can like leave maybe for a few days here and there. But yeah, it's just different, isn't it? And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'd just love to be able to travel with Michelle and the baby maybe next year, and we'll just see how. Yeah, it'd be a really nice feeling, I think, to do that and race and have them there. But we just got to see what happens.
I mean, you touched on it when it comes to that kind of sponsorship and contracts and stuff. Like I've talked about it with female athletes and how parenting plays a part in that. Like, will you be kind of bringing that lens into contract chats with Terex?
Yeah, I haven't really talked it over yet, but I've obviously like when we thought the time was right, I chatted over with my athlete manager saying, you know, Michelle's pregnant, blah blah blah. We're having a baby end of September, and they were just really happy for us. And so yeah, like the really cool thing about Terex is like we have the team house, and so that might just look a little bit different, whether I need to try and like negotiate more like as of an individual budget, because we might not be able to stay in like that team house anymore. Probably not. No one wants a baby like screaming away. No one be sharing the room, that's for sure. So yeah, it's one of those things that it's definitely on the back of my mind, and it's just gonna be like, yeah, we might just have to have like an Airbnb separate from the team house when I'm traveling with the family. It's pretty weird to say, but yeah, that'd be cool.
Yep. Oh, so exciting.
It's so exciting. I'm so stoked for you. And both stoked for
Yeah.
both. Yeah. Hey, look, Taraweta's golden ticket and race again. And obviously you've earned your entry already to both Taraweta and Western States. But look, who would you really like to come and see take that golden ticket?
Well, the old mate Hayden Hawks is going to be coming back shortly. No, we're already talking about him might be coming back to Wellington to do some training. He loves it here, and we love like hanging out and doing like hunter-gatherer stuff, like diving and stuff, fishing stuff, random. Yeah, and who else would I like to come see take that golden ticket? Oh, I'd love to see Ruth come back, because I don't know, like she's like real committed to racing UTMB, but it would be really, really special, I think, lining up with her at Western States, because she's just a legend. And yeah, but no, like all props to her, just like concentrating on UTMB. That's like her main focus. So we'll see what happens next year. I'm not sure.
It's exciting, isn't it? Like seeing her again, to not to reference social media, but like seeing her doing those overnight trips. Like she's just out there on the trail at night by herself, just getting after it. It just looks absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing, like, different training styles and things you can put in place to get ready for a race like UTMB, and even like just going out for a walk, say on the weekend, up a hill with poles. Like that's the first steps, is getting used to poles for CCC or UTMB. And it's not necessary in CCC, but I surely appreciated it last year after, when you get through the 50K and your legs are already toast, like having poles to get up the hills I felt was pretty key. So yeah, it's just amazing the different things that you can do to tune the mind, tune the body.
Incredible. All right. Well, look, Ellie, you got anything else, mate?
I don't know. I'm kind of curious to hear your comparison between, like, if you had to choose one between UTMB or Western States, like, what do you reckon?
Oh, I always put Western States comes first in the calendar year. And for me, it's a race that, pretty much got me really, really intrigued about the sport. I was, just like, look at those guys race. Like, I reckon I could do that. I reckon I could win that. That's what I was thinking back in those days when I was watching the YouTube videos. I was like, oh, wow, they're crazy. But I reckon I can do it. And yeah, it's definitely up there. It's number one on my priority list to try and win. So that's my take.
Amazing. Look, Dan, thank you for your generosity in speaking to us. We really appreciate it. Like, well done. I know you'll obviously going, I wish I could have got a bit harder, but like, dude, incredible result. And I guess above all else, congratulations to you and Michelle for your impending happy arrival, and can't wait to see how you got CCC.
Yeah, thanks so much. And no, I am really like happy. Like, I think that's the big takeaway, right? It's like, you put yourself out there in this race and to get through it and still, lay everything on the line and get fifth. I am happy with it. I'm very happy. And I just wanted to also say thanks to all those, that I had like so many people like saying, this is your year, and like really believing that I could do it. And then also afterwards, just all the messages of support was just really amazing. So thank you, everyone.
Awesome.